Hi, Lewis. Are you free for a few quick questions?
If you really insist, yeah, sure, we can do that, yeah.
Do you want to take us through the campus as well?
We can do that. You want to walk? Yes. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
One policy you would love to change.
Uh, we started off this of ISPP with the view to create next-gen leaders for a rising India. And if India is to be rising, we've got to have economic growth. So if you look at it, what is it that we'd like to see happening over here in the country? It's really how do we make ourselves more prosperous. So what are the policies that will make us more prosperous and help us to get around and improve economic activity in the country is something. I've always believed that economic development is the best way to get people out of poverty. Now at the same time, there are a lot of people who need help to come up the chain, get onto the ladder, and that's why we need policies, for example, to make healthcare more affordable, accessible, and available. That's really what we're looking at currently over here. Shall we walk through? Can we go through? Come.
If you weren't in public policy, what career would you choose?
You know, it's the difficult thing. I've been in various things in my life. I've been an accountant, I've been an auditor, I've been a banker, I've been in venture capital, I've been in private equity. And I suddenly realized along the way that a lot of what I've done is because of public policy changes. And that's why when we started off over here, when Parth suggested that, why don't we set up a school for public policy, it fits in. And if I was not doing public policy, what would I do? I don't know. I'd be hanging in our place in Nasik and watching the world go by and reading a book. I've done a lot of interesting things in my life, but everything I look back is what it led to was really because of the changes in laws that facilitated it. Starting a bank, actually going back in '89 when I came back to India after business school. 2 years later, the economy opened up and it created a whole lot of opportunities for us. So that was a public policy change. Then allowing private sector banks into the country, that was a public policy change. Allowing more private sector investment into infrastructure, that's a public policy change. And that's really what I want to see. How can we use more of that as a way for good?
If ISPP had a mascot, what would it be?
God, you're making me think now. Yeah? If ISPP had a mascot, what would it be? A tiger. A tiger because it shows strength, it shows power, it shows vitality. And actually, let me maybe rethink that and say maybe a lion. And the reason I'm saying a lion is because I've just come back from Sarnath in Varanasi and I saw the Ashoka capital and the pillar and the 4 lions over there, and it does reflect what we want to be: growth, determination, and strength.
A fictional character that would make a great policy leader.
Oh, to me, it's Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. I use him in a lot of slides because I think he's a great philosopher and he asks questions and is always looking for ways to get things done in a way that maybe sometimes self-centered, but it's all about himself and about how do you sort of solve some of the problems. So yes, a lot of my slides actually have Calvin in him because he's a great character.
One book around public policy that you would recommend.
It's not a book on public policy, but it's a book that shaped my thinking. It's a book called Animal Farm, and it talks about the importance of people not being in control by others. And there's this lovely line in it where the pigs, when they take control, say, all pigs are equal, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And how do you get away from that? So that book, when I was a young guy, influenced me tremendously. Is a lesson in the role of people and how the tyranny of some can actually destroy it. By the way, this room used to be the master bedroom in this lovely campus we are in this lovely floor. And if you actually, why don't we come across over here? Now, I just imagine what this house was like. It was someone's house, and we were lucky to get this place over here. And this was the terrace, and it overlooks this lovely garden we have down over here. And what's fabulous about this place is that this is the open space where you see our scholars playing badminton and running around, and the team has done a fabulous job of making this green with a lot of color, and it's a lovely, it's a warm feeling. This what this campus is about here. It's we've taken someone's home and repurposed it for ourselves here.
Three words that as students will describe you as.
Describe me. Jerk? No. Maybe that's not the right thing to say, but I don't know. It's relaxed, hardworking, and fun to be with. Actually, I also talk about it. So years ago, one of my former colleagues told me when I was leaving HDFC Bank, he said, "Louis, you are the toughest boss I ever had, but the fairest." And work has to get done. We're out here to help this rising India, so we have to work hard. This is an intensive course. We don't want people to think this is a one-year holiday, but we want this to be an enjoyable experience also. So yes, so they're not exclusive. You can work hard, and you can also have fun and learn in the process, and go out and change the world.
One thing you can't start your day without.
Now, if you ask my wife, her response will be is, I got to pick up my mobile phone and check if my kids have sent me any message. For me, it's over the last few years that if I was to start my day, it'll be for going for a walk, because that's my safe space. It gives me a chance to listen to podcasts, catch up on any sort of YouTube video that someone has referred to me, and just sort of be away. Sometimes I would catch up with a friend and go for a walk, and learn something new. And my aim is always to figure out what is it that I can learn new every day. And I sort of sit back once a week and actually reflect on the week gone by and what have I learned new.
What podcasts are you listening to?
It's a variety of them. The University of Chicago has this great podcast called Capitalism, so I listen to that. Then there's another program called Acquired. And I've recently participated in a couple of podcasts like The Barber Shop. And these are, are different topics. They are, they cover different aspects of life. And I pick up something new. I have this other bad habit that I'm always looking on my phone, not because I'm checking messages, but I'm writing down things that I've learned while I'm walking.
What's one app on your phone that you spend a lot of time on? What's one app on your phone that you spend a lot of time
on? It's actually notes, because I note down a lot of stuff here. And then I think I use OneNote a lot. I sometimes realize that I'm sitting over here and I watch one reel because someone has sent it and then 1 hour has gone by. So I try to avoid all of that now. Instagram, I've cut down my time on that. Facebook, I move them all to some of my larger pages behind it and away from distraction. But OneNote, I think, is, I guess, the app that I use the most here.
What's one movie that you would recommend?
You want to go downstairs? Yes. Okay, let's go. So the other thing about this building is this fabulous staircase here. As I said, it's a home. It's like this sort of old, antiquated, old sort of house of someone, and an old academic institution, something like you'd see in the UK or something. So it's got this lovely charm here. So, yep, let's go down. You good? So now you want to follow me down? Okay. Okay, so the movie that changed my life has nothing to do with public policy. It's a movie called, and actually it's not even to do with this conversation, but I'm going to tell you this anyway. It's a movie called Pretty Woman. The reason why I think it's a great movie is because I saw that movie. I came out of the theater and I was with my girlfriend at that time, and I decided in the middle of the movie that I should get married. And I came out of the theater and there was this guy selling vegetables at Churchgate Station. So I went up to him and asked him whether I should marry her. And he said yes, because that's another important lesson in life, getting feedback from other people. So I got that and then proposed to her. Yeah. She's for some reason never happy that I saw a movie about a prostitute and then proposed to her. But we've been married for 30 odd years now. Yeah. But if you look at a movie to do with policy, I think it's a movie which Atlas Network was involved in producing many years ago called Poverty Inc. And it again shows the problems of aid and why what's more important is to empower people. So you've heard the story about giving people fish, etc. So you give people fish, that's charity. You teach them how to fish, that's skilling. And on the other hand, as Part says, if you were to just create frameworks which allow people to go and fish because it's economically viable to do so, people will fish, people will set up shipbuilding industries, people will set up cold storage units, because the policies allow you to make money and make a living out of fishing. So that's what Poverty Inc. is about. It talks about the role of the markets in able to take people out of poverty and make people more prosperous. Yeah.
Favorite quotes that you use?
So you ask my kids, they'll have a whole lot of different stories because I use this all the time. One is a quote of Maya Angelou: if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. The second one I use is what actually is on the walls at Chicago booth. It's a neon sign which says, "Why are you here and not somewhere else?" And I ask people to constantly reflect on this, maybe once a quarter, sit down, and it helps you think, why am I here? Why am I, for example, studying at ISPP? Why am I at my particular job? And it helps you remember what you started off with, why you came there. And it also gives you a chance to figure out what are some of the, sometimes we get stuck on the recency of problems that we have and it makes us in a bad mood. And it sort of, makes you realize that some of the reasons why you started are still very valid. And that's why you need to continue. Or sometimes maybe the answer is maybe you should not be here anymore, you should move on. So, so that's another one. My kids are sick of hearing me tell these stories. And so a lot of our students also have heard it too many times. So this is our ground floor. This used to be, I think, the dining room area of the house, and the architect's done a fabulous job of the space here. And you can see what I like about this place is there's a lot of glass, it's sort of open, it's airy. When you walk down over here, you can enjoy the openness over here. This is our student lounge, and this used to be their hall. And we use this for a lot of students to hang out, for us to have events. We've also got a table tennis room upstairs in what used to be the servants' quarters. We've got a library downstairs. Yeah, it's a comfortable place. I'm going to sit down over here for a while. Yeah.
What's one policy buzzword that has been overused?
One policy buzzword that's been overused. Empowerment. Yeah, everyone talks about empowerment, and maybe also what I wear on my badge, inclusiveness, inclusion. These words are talked a lot, but are we really empowering people? I don't know. Are we really living in an inclusive world? I don't think so. We've improved a lot, but we've got to keep focusing on inclusion, and we've got to keep focusing on empowering people. Through the other organizations that I'm involved with also, I learned about the role of the communities, of the grassroots. And that's again what we're trying to do at ISPP, bring back the public into public policy. How do we create policies that reflect the voice of the people and not something that we have come up with, which is some people in an ivory tower have decided. And that's a challenge quite often, why policies don't work out. because they're not taking into account the work or the views of the people who are going to be impacted here. And there's a great story also I learned about this. So in one of the cities, they were trying to sort of decide where do you do the metro line with. And it was interesting because to me, I learned a lot through that simple example. So they said, let's take where people live and where the jobs are. And then we, people who would normally travel, and we build a line connecting the two, which is the way I would look at it. So they built this line across over here. And they suddenly realized that where people lived, they didn't really own the place they lived in. So the real estate value went up. And then they couldn't afford living there because they were on rent. So then they had to move out. So you never really help the people connect themselves to where the jobs are. So things like that, how do you learn from these experiences? And that's why some of our faculties are always continuously forcing our scholars to think and ask Subhashish asks this question all the time, why? Why? Why?
How would you describe your co-founders in a song?
I want to break free. Now, don't ask me to sing it because this will piss off a lot of people, but yeah, I want to break free. How do we break free from all the things that hold us down? So I go back to Queen, I want to break free.